Hello, Stargate Hammer back in a video today, and we are reacting to the Odd Ones Out. Animation is hard, because I have done art my whole life, which I actually have proof to show if I can remember where I put it. Here. Because I've done art my whole life, and I'd like to do animation videos one day, but to do that, I need to understand it, if you catch my drift. Like, I've done drawing. All from Google, by the way. Like, I just look at an image and copy it. Like, that's basically me as a printer. But when I was trying to say in my last video, and I found out my intro has a copyright strike, so I'm gonna have to find another intro, or don't have an intro. Either way, it sucks for me. So it's probably gonna get cut off. So I'll try the best of my ability to play just a bit of it, because I know how the copyright strike works. I've had an issue before. And I'm doing this reaction video because I'm not sure that I'm allowed to do it. But when you see other people doing it, like, you want to do it too, but you're not sure. So you try it out, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Then it's not made. But this camera angle is probably going to stay because that's probably going to make me unique in a way. So yeah, we're reacting to the Odd Ones Out right here. Like and subscribe. Comment at this guy. I'll do the same.
When you're watching any animated piece of media, I think it's easy to forget that you're watching drawings move. Excuse me? What kind of Harry Potter dark magic is this? Since when did drawings move? I drew a picture of a dog once, but it hasn't moved at all, not even to play fetch. Well, what you're really watching isn't actually moving. What you're really watching...
So basically, yeah, he's right. What you're watching is basically like a frame by frame, which most animators use in the common knowledge of this day, because it's more easy to do by frame than it is by brighting out, which I know he's going to explain about it, but this is the type of point in artistic where, like, you're about to see the struggles it is with art. You think it's easy, just drawing a doodle, but nah, not like this.
Is a series of individual frames played at a rapid speed on a liquid crystal display screen that emit photons into your eyeball receptors that get processed by your brain into what it perceives as movement. It was all a trickery, you see, a ruse that you fell for hook, line, and sinker. Now, a lot of you probably already know about the concept of the frame rate, but what I want you to understand is that in cartoons, every head turn, every blink, everything that happens had to be meticulously drawn by a person who studied anatomy and knows about physics and movement, knowing full well that their drawing was only going to be seen for a fraction of a second.
And yeah, he's right. Because, again, I don't know most of this stuff, but this stuff I do understand. That it took time and precision. Like, back in the Walt Disney days, they had to, frame by frame, draw it. And like you said, like a meticulous of a second. Like, it took them ages. It took them about, like, maybe close to a year if they wanted to make, like, a whole movie. Like, that's how serious it was. But to make, like, one whole cartoon, it took them about, like, maybe 5 weeks. It wasn't easy. And plus, you have to color all that in. You have to draw the background. You have to get all this, that, like right now, all of this that you're seeing, let alone that, is 10 times freaking difficult.
And you weren't even watching. You were on your phone. Today, I would like to turn back the sands of time and talk about some of the ways animators were able to achieve the illusion of life without the help of modern technology. I hope by watching you can better understand and appreciate the medium of...
Oh yeah, by the way, go subscribe to this guy. He is an awesome animator. Besides him and Adam, are the only two that have inspired me wanting to be an animator. But the reason why I've never done it is because I need to practice on my own artistic. What I showed you was just a baked half. I've been doing this since first grade. Ouch.
Of animation as much as I do, because the amount of dedication and hard work that goes into just making drawings move is unreal. And if you're like me and already know a bit about animation history and...
Right there, top left, do you see now Mickey Mouse? Well, not Mickey Mouse. It's more like Steamboat Willie now, because we technically don't have the public domain rights to say Mickey, but we can say Steamboat Willie. But he's also named Mickey Mouse. Okay, this is confusing. We got anime top right. We got Bambi. Is Bambi even public domain? Oh, let me check. Um, is Bambi public domain now? Let's see. Winnie the Pooh and Bambi tiles are now public domain. Okay, well that makes more sense.
Find this kind of stuff fascinating? Don't worry, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up either. Now, we know that animation is just copious amounts of drawings being shown in rapid succession. But how the fuck are we going to get people to look at copious amounts of drawings in rapid succession without a computer? Well, believe it or not, there's actually quite a few things we can do without even having to use a camera. One method we can try is by drawing out all of our frames on a stack of paper. I know that's the time-consuming part, but after we're done doing that, we'll hang up all our drawings side by side on a very long wall. Then we'll ride a bike next to the wall and continuously...
And they do have these in subways in New York City, I think, in the I think it's in the Brooklyn district, I think. And I think he might talk about it. Like, again, I haven't watched this one, so I don't even know. But I'm just guessing here on like a more of a educated whim. Because what he says is like real stuff, and I know he's been doing this for years. So he's probably like what, 25 now? And I don't have a lot of experience, but I can understand enough common sensely.
We have our head turned facing the wall, and if we pedal fast enough, we'll zip by the drawing so fast that it'll look like they're moving. Hey, look! It's a horse! Okay, you're probably thinking, that's not how animation is made. And you're right. This method of animation is totally impractical, but not impossible. This type of human transportational animation has been done before in subway tunnels, with the results looking pretty legit. I mean, this minion looks like he's totally moving. I might as well be in the cinema. And for those of the gamer variety, YouTuber Pale of Pears was able to achieve this method of animation flawlessly in Minecraft. But if you wanted to do something more practical, you could instead take your drawings off the really long wall and then stack them up like a book and then just flip through the paper quickly, making a flip book. If you have some sticky notes lying around that you forgot about in a junk drawer somewhere, you can make a pretty simple ball bouncing animation really quickly, with the results being, you know, kind of cool. A fun fact, this type of animation was featured in every single copy of the Animorphs books, which I never read. I would just flip through the pages and watch the children in the corner transform into elephants and starfish and this weird blue alien centaur thing. And what the heck was going on in these books, man? Okay, this next method of showing people drawings in rapid succession is going to be a little bit crazy. I don't want to freak you out, but it's basically on the same level as rocket science, okay? We're going to have to jump up a whole dimension for this one. What you're going to do is sculpt out a three-dimensional figure of whatever you want.
So what he's about to talk about is claymation. Some of you might already count on, some of you wanted me to watch this to continue, but when people react, they don't usually let you just watch. That's not really reacting, that's just watching. Reacting is when you specifically talk about something.
To animate. Let's animate, I don't know, this guy jumping. So first, I'm going to sculpt my guy just standing there, just being a dude. This will be frame 1. Now, okay, I know some of you are probably thinking, oh, I see where this is going. You're going to take a picture of the sculpture, then change its pose slightly.
And yeah, he's right, but no. This is before cameras. So it'd be a different kind of claymation. There's no pictures to it. Or let alone even animation tools. So this would just be like a claymation kind of thing, just without photos.
Take a picture of that, and then slightly change the pose over and over while continuously starting and stopping the camera, making it seem like our subject has some sort of motion. No, actually, we're not going to be doing any of that. Cameras haven't been invented yet in this hypothetical. What we're doing instead is making a whole new sculpture that will be the next frame of our animation. So it'll be our guy again, bending his legs a little bit, getting ready for the jump. All right, neat. That's frame 2. Now let's do this a total of, 16 times? That sounds good. Let's also make the 16th sculpture look like it came before the first sculpture. So you understand? It's going to go from the 16th sculpture back to the first one. It's a loop, like a tick-tock. We're doing a tick-tock loop. Now we're going to take all 16 of our sculptures and space them out evenly on a round table.
Okay, so he's talking about, like, you know those glass bowl things where they have that, like, little... So, my grandparents own one. They have, like, this little round table area, or they used to have one, I think, and it had, like, a little character in the glass stain image. So when you spin it, it kind of makes the motion. But it depends on how fast you spin it, how long the motion is. If it's slow, it doesn't look like much. If you do it fast enough, it looks uncanny, like a human, like a little monster thing. But ours is like a farmer raking, I think.
Sorry, Arthur. I'm gonna need this. Now, make the table spin. That's on you to figure out how to do. I don't know. Maybe get the bike guy from the first example to pedal or something. I doubt any of you are actually following along, but if you are, put all your sculptures on a spinning table right now. And make it quick, all right? I'm not gonna wait for you. And now, for the final step, turn your lights on and off really quickly. And if we did everything right, the effect we get is mesmerizing.
Yep.
What's happening is that the light shines at the first sculpture, and then we turn the lights off. Cool. Then, as the table spins, the light will turn back on when the second sculpture is in the same position as the first. So we turn the lights on when the sculptures are in the same spot, and we turn them off when they're not. And what we end up seeing is all of our figures standing in a circle performing the animation, and we don't even register that the whole thing is spinning. And congratulations, you all know what a zoetrope is now. Which, I know, is a pretty fun word that you can whip out at parties like, yeah, I know a unique word that starts with the letter Z.
Funny thing is, I'm an introvert, so ha.
That isn't xylophone.
Partially.
Another fun thing about the zoetrope was that a 3D rendering of one was featured in the Season 2 opening of Mob Psycho 100. So that's what that spinning thing in the intro was. It was a zoetrope. Zoetrope. Okay, let's talk about one more way we can show people drawings in quick succession without a camera, and it's the easiest method by far. So, all we need is this glitchy, abstract drawing like this. Huh, pretty cool and random, right? Except it's not. It's not random at all. I lied. Every line here is placed very deliberately. Let me show you something. If we take this floppy, transparent sheet full of vertical bars and cover up most of the drawing, hey, look at that. The outline we end up seeing looks like one of them kitty cats. Now, if we slide the transparent sheet over and reveal different parts of the drawing, it looks like a kitty cat but in a different position. And if we keep sliding the sheet over, revealing different parts of the drawing, look at him go! This is called a barrier grid animation, and with the right base drawing, you can make all sorts of animations that don't hurt to look at all. And also, I just want to point out that a barrier grid animation was also featured in the Season 2 opening of Mob Psycho 100. Hey, do you guys want to watch anime later? So all these different methods of showing people drawings in quick succession, I don't know if there's a word for it, but I'm calling it physical animation. Like animation you can hold and touch with your fingers, you know?
Yeah. The fun fact, claymation is running out of clay in this generation, so that's kind of getting cut off in any filmmaking.
All those warrior cat animation memes, that's digital animation, right? This is physical. It's the real deal. But there's one form of physical animation that we haven't talked about yet that's unarguably the most popular and the most important form of physical animation to have ever...
By the way, if you want me to watch more of this stuff, give me a suggestion, but do me a favor, please make sure it doesn't have any copyright, or if the person who made the video allows people to react to this, because I don't want to get copyright strike. I'll fact check it, but I'm just saying, like, comment on the video If you want more of this, and like and subscribe. That's all. And again, subscribe to him as well.
Ever
I'll put it in the
existed
description.
on Earth. Excuse me. Okay, now we're gonna use cameras. Okay, they finally figured it out. With the invention of film, showing people multiple images in quick succession had never been easier. Now we can take something from real life, burn an image of that into a film strip, process it, and then shine a light through it again to get a recreation of the image. And if we roll this whole strip of film over this strobe light, we get moving pictures. That's why they're called movies, because they move. What the fuck? A lot of times, film was used to capture the movements of real people, but it was also used in the same way to capture the movements of people of the animated variety. Let's take a look at an old cartoon, the 1968 animated Batman series.
I do not affiliate with Batman, nor do I own Batman. That belongs to DC. I say this so YouTube does not get on my...
The first time Batman has ever appeared in the animation form. You know, the really old Batman cartoon that had onomatopoeias appear on the screen during fight scenes? Boom! Pow! Ka-chow! Except they didn't. They didn't do that in the cartoon. Visually showing the verbiage of impacts was exclusively an Adam West thing. In the cartoon, you gotta see those impacts. Hey, can I ask you a thought-provoking question? What the f*** am I looking at? I know it's Batman high-kicking a goon, but how is it moving? This frame was captured on film, so there had to be a physical camera to capture it, right? So where is this drawing? It's not on a computer. Computers in the 60s looked like this. So where is this? So every animated movie and animated TV show and animated anime before the year 2000-ish used what's called cell animation. This frame of Batman was hand-painted, that's right, painted with special paint onto a transparent celluloid sheet, or cell. And then this transparent sheet was laid on top of a hand-painted background, and then this goon that got kicked, well, he had to be painted on his own cell sheet too, and then this image of sandwiched art was captured onto a film thing, a strip. Then the Batman cell would come off and be replaced by a whole new hand-painted cell of Batman, and then that frame would be captured, and then the whole process would repeat again and again until the shot was done. This one shot that lasted a little over a second used 14 different hand-painted drawings of Batman, and the goon had 6 just for a second. Now, because having to hand paint 20 different images for 1 second is insane, there are some things we can do to cut corners without having to sacrifice too much quality. Like in this shot, Robin takes 5 frames to turn his head, but his body doesn't move, so we can paint his body once on its own cell, and now we only need to paint 5 different heads. And since we already have all the frames painted, we can just use the same frames in reverse to make his head turn the other way. And you don't need to pay a background artist to paint a background if you just use blue. A big...
Yeah, they had it basic to where... Well, because most of the time back then they didn't have much money to do stuff, but to them, it was special, you know? Because no one has seen this before. It's awesome. But art has changed. And like I said in my last video, like, things are changing, and this is a good example. That's why I like this guy. He explains stuff that needs to be said, and what you don't realize is what's changed. Now, I haven't been there most of my life, so I don't know some of the stuff, but I've lived with older people, in a way, like grandparents, because even though I wasn't there in the generation, I still played some of the stuff.
Part of cell animation was being able to animate pieces of a character independently of each other. That's actually why so many old cartoon characters had accessories around their necks, so the animators could separate the characters' heads from their bodies, making it easier to animate. Fred wasn't rocking that ascot just because it was trendy. One of the nice things about using a computer to animate is that you can play back what you've animated and clearly see if your timing is correct and if there's any quick adjustments you can make. Being able to see what your previous frames are is so important there's actually a term for it called onion skinning. But animators pre-2K didn't have computers to re-watch their work, so here's what they did instead.
In other words, they were in pain.
Before they even put paint onto a cell, they first had to draw all their frames out onto a piece of paper, and they didn't work on the frames in chronological order. Like, they didn't go, Okay, I just drew the first frame of Batman. Okay, here's the second frame of Batman. Okay, I'm gonna go do the third frame of Batman. Okay, you do the fourth frame though. That way of animating is called straight ahead animation, and some people use it, but the results look pretty chaotic, but it's still used pretty effectively for effects and concert visuals. But most of the time, animators will animate a character from pose to pose. They'll draw out all the important key poses a character will make on paper, and then they'll hold the pieces of paper between each of their fingers and then quickly flip between their drawings just to get an idea of what a drawing that goes in between those key poses would look like. That's called in-betweening, just so you know. And they still wouldn't be able to get a full playback of their animation until every pencil drawing was captured on film and processed. They just had to trust their page flipping technique and their highly trained eyeballs and go, yeah, that looks about right. Let's bring out the paint. And because there are hundreds of shots all having to be animated without a computer, can you really blame the animators that some shots of Batman looked like this? Or this? It was old, remember? Old things are bad. Okay.
Not necessarily true. It's just more that, okay, what's the nicest way of saying it without saying like a jerk? It's more that it's just not gonna work at the more. Like, you could still use it. Like, I'll try to use some of the old ways, because I feel like some people like to say the same thing. That's why I did the YouTube thing. Like, again, watch the past video. I'll put it at the end of the. Again, he will be on the description with the link of how to get to him. Second, the past video will be at the end credits. So that way, it's not that difficult. And if it is to you, why are you on here and how? When I'm explaining how in the most easiest way as a human being. I'm just clarifying.
Okay, I kind of have a secret. Remember when I said, let's look at an old cartoon? Well, I might have overemphasized how old the Batman cartoon is. By the time the Batman cartoon came out, the movie Bambi had been out for 25 years. And are you aware of how f***ing fluid the animation in Bambi is? Dude, Bambi goes so f***ing hard. Walt literally brought in deer from the f***ing woods into their studio just so the animators could be like, oh, that's neat. That's how deers move. I understand this more now. What?
Yeah, they were crazy. Yeah, he's not joking. They brought in actual animals. Because remember, this was like what? Let me check. Walt Disney. Because was he in the 70s? Let me see. What was his... No, he was in the 90s. Okay. Well, no, in the 60s. Okay. So, in the 60s. Okay. So, yeah, they were not really that much in the techno... They were getting there. Like we were trying to get today. But slowly and surely to the point where it made sense.
What the f? I honestly thought the Batman show came out way earlier in the animation timeline because of how it looked. Obviously, these two things were created by different studios with different animators and different budgets, and TV animation always has to create more animation per budget, but all the same techniques and equipment used to make an episode of Batman were the exact same techniques and equipment used to make an episode of Bambi. I don't mean that as a dunk on Batman. I'm more so impressed with how amazing Bambi looks, especially since while it came out, World War II was currently happening. So because celluloid sheets were used to animate every TV show, movie, and anime there has ever been before the year 2000-ish, by my calculations, there are millions of cell sheets out there. Like this single frame of Batman kicking, it's on a cell sheet somewhere. And more importantly, who owns it? Many of the cells that still
Him with that Vsauce meme, I swear.
exist have been sold to the general public. But because of how the paint and time works, cell sheets need to be kept very well preserved. So since cells are very hard to preserve, and because they're not making any new ones, some cells are worth a lot of money. This cell and original background from My Neighbor Totoro sold for $84,000. While I'm writing the script, there's currently an auction going on for this cell from the Jungle Book for $10,000. And I own this cell of Squidward laughing that I got at a convention for $300. It's not an original background. The background's a print, and it's actually not even the correct background for the shot. But I'm just pointing out that not all cells are thousands of dollars. You know, they made millions of these, so you can get a cell from a TV show for a couple hundred, and then you get to own a frame of animation that belongs to you now, which I think is super cool. This moment of Squidward laughing belongs to me, and you can't have it. So if you ever visit some,
But yeah, he's right. Like, you're also giving to history. Like, you are, in a way, giving what. Okay. What I'm trying to say is you're letting the history move on in a way, but where it's more acceptable. Like, you don't see this anymore, so it's more of appreciative to have it. And the person who made it, you could look and be like, okay, so they made this. This was awesome. This is something they did. You know? So, like, there's both ways you could go about this.
friends who really like cartoons, there's a good chance that they have an animation cell somewhere on display. And those are just a handful of ways that animators were able to achieve the illusion of life without a computer. And I do just want to say, just because something was animated on a computer doesn't make it any less artistic. Yes, computers make the process easier and more streamlined, absolutely. It's still a human expressing their creativity and being in control of that. Did you hear me? It's a human expressing themselves and being in control creatively. I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about
Message for the people who allowed the AI to make the art, just so you know.
animation history. There's still quite a few things that I didn't get to cover, like how did Walt animate this panning, parallaxing shot of Bambi where the trees move on separate layers? What kind of technology did they create to make trees move at different speeds? So much hard work and talent is involved in every piece of animation you see, and because of animation, we're able to tell incredible stories that are nothing like anything we ever see in our day-to-day lives. And before I go, can we talk about the intro to the Batman series, please? Oh my god. I just want to go.
So yeah, he's right though. Like, animation was the most difficult time that you can have done back then. Like, people say it's easy, it can be controlled, but no, like, they took hard time. It was time consuming, they had the pressure, they had, like, if they lived now in these days with the community being this toxic, they would have quit on the spot because of you guys trying to think that, and I'm not saying my viewers, I'm saying like in general, as in you guys, like the talking back to the point to where it's disrespectful, they don't think. If you think it's so easy to make this, go work there. Get some support. No, actually, no, you do it yourself. Thinking you know everything, and then there you go. Work harder and smarter. Don't be lazy about it. But yeah, like James is right. Like that was not easy back in the 60s. And like you said, this was going on World War II. The technology there was crap, but it made it through. There was no other way you could have done this. This was impossible way to do this. These type of people are what I respect in the most. I respect my dad for it because like, I get it. I do. It might be because of the people around me, but this alone makes the point that it really can't be easy. But yeah, also all my title screens will now have like a red background with a hashtag. I might add some difference to it if I make a FNAF. Kind of like Game Grumps. I'm taking their thing. Okay, I'm admitting it. I'm going to take their shtick. I'm not going to take their intro, but I'm going to take their idea. But yeah, that was the Odd1Out. Go to the link description, subscribe to him if you don't want to, it's up to you. But if you want more of me reacting to Storytime animators, I'll fact check it on Saturday. You can tell me what's this and that, but it's up to you, the viewers. If you don't, then don't say anything. But one of these days, I'm not gonna make videos. You gotta comment something. Like there is no other way I'm gonna make videos, or else I'm just gonna keep trying. And if you don't like it, you should have said something. YouTubers say that for a reason. They don't say it just because of the algorithm. They say it because they really need to know. So it's up to you guys. Like, thanks for watching my channel these years. Thanks for staying when I've been on the hiatus of just trying to figure out myself. Um, you really didn't have to do that. Some of you did leave, like 5, and I get it. 2 of them did join, just join, and then they had to leave. But I will promise this the best I can, and it's a promise I'll try to make. I will make more recordings and live streams because my audio is not bad, but my quality sucks. Like, bad, bad. And, yeah. I would like to react to Smosh, but that's not in my genre of family friendly. Like, they're family friendly, but his type I will accept because it's not that family friendly, but it's more honest than anything. So that should give you an idea if you want to make recommendations. Think of it like kind of like the Odds1Out. Like, yeah, he cusses, but at least it's blurred. So like he cuts that off. Anyways, have a good day. Star 20 out.